Evening, everybody, and I want to thank everybody too for all their wonderful, fantastic responses I got yesterday to our starting point. As Loretta mentioned, we were 46 years old yesterday. It was our birthday, and I really posted a beautiful thing on Facebook about starting point, and I got over 292 responses to it. It was fantastic. So it was really beautiful. A lot of memories. Beautiful memories. Okay. I want to start off tonight by doing a reading. We're talking about, we're doing the addiction series, and we're going to talk a lot about isolation addictions tonight. And I picked the reading from January 13th from the language of letting go, and it's good feelings. When we talk about feelings and recovery, we often focus on the troublesome trio: pain, fear, and anger. But there are other feelings available in the emotional realm: happiness, joy, peace, contentment, love, closeness, excitement. It's okay to let ourselves feel pleasurable feelings too. We don't have to worry when we experience good feelings. We don't have to scare ourselves out of them. We don't have to sabotage our happiness. We do that sometimes to get to the more familiar, less joyful terrain. It's okay to feel good. We don't have to analyze, judge, or justify. We don't have to bring ourselves down or let others bring us down by injecting negativity. We're allowed to let ourselves feel good. Today, I remind myself that it's my right to feel as good as I can. I can have many moments of feeling good. I can find a balanced place of feeling content, peaceful, and good. And as we say in the program, happy, joyous, and free. I love that concept. It's kind of a mantra for the program. I had a wonderful experience this weekend. I was the retreat master for the Mount Talbot retreat. We had 146 men on the retreat. It was totally amazing, powerful weekend. A lot of energy, tremendous recovery energy. I love it. Yeah, I want to talk tonight about the concept of what I refer to as the isolation addictions. And it's interesting because when we talk about isolation, it's almost like I mentioned last week, that normally a lot of times in growing up, so many of us were never able to get in touch with feelings. Remember that old saying, be quiet, don't talk, keep your mouth shut, you're not allowed to have a voice. So a lot of us had a tendency to migrate towards loneliness, a lot of sadness, a lot of grieving for the loss we went through. And that's why they use the term, when we refer to isolation, the term the lost child. So many of us live in that tendency of the lost child. And as a result, fear and control, or fear and the illusion of control, kind of became our normal. As a result of that, there's following addictions that we kind of migrate towards, to literally run away from, hide, and are able to find a place to hide in. And there are things such as, of course, drugs and alcohol, the functional addicts. Work is always a place we can hide and search for an identity. Relationships, one of the most powerful addictions of all, to look for someone else to tell me who I am, to have my life centralized around somebody else. Also with institutional addiction, religion, psychiatric hospitals, professional patients, all that kind of stuff goes along with it. Even religion, it can involve in cults and things to that effect. Okay, anorexia, and above all today, especially technology. Because today we see the experience of where a lot of people are kind of lost. It's almost like we don't communicate with each other anymore. But it's all based on the fact that deep down inside, we have this tremendous fear, a fear of change, a fear of growth, a fear of openness. And as a result, then so many times we find ourselves pulling back, find ourselves hiding, finding a place where we can be comfortable. I think a lot of times when we don't feel safe, we migrate towards things like this. But I know what it's really all about because I can attest to it in my own life. When you really have no sense of what feelings really are, and you shut them down for a long period of time and never were allowed to have them, there's a tendency very many times to literally become empty, become lonely, become scared, become afraid. And as a result, then I look for ways to hide. I mentioned last week that we're as sick as our secrets. And these are the secret addictions in many ways. They're places to hide, to run from life. Because deep down inside, we have a lot of fears, a lot of anxieties. But the biggest one of all is that illusion of control. I find it interesting because even with drugs and alcohol, so many of us have a tendency to live in a world of isolation and control. Look at my own life. I used alcohol in my room at night in secrecy, behind closed doors. To the outside world, I functioned. I did very well. I performed. And literally, I really performed. But the bottom line was I couldn't stop at the end of the day. I needed my sedative to put me to sleep at night. And so as a result, then literally everything I didn't see myself as having a problem though. I was in control. Thought I was anyway. But the bottom line is, I told you back then I was living with a pastor who was very violent, very insane, would disappear, very unmanageable. And basically, I saw him as the addict, not me. See, because I did my work, I got my job done. That functional concept is so powerful. And we see that today too, not only with alcohol, but also with drugs, with pills and stuff to that effect. It's a place where I can hide, I can run, not have to feel and deal with life. The other addictions that come under that also, all these addictions really hit us in a lot of different ways. But I think a big part of it is many of us are scared. We're scared to take responsibility. We're scared to basically make decisions. And it's much easier when everybody else make decisions for us. Not only in my own life, I realize too, when it comes to work, work is a great hiding place. I hid for, almost 44 years of my life. And I realized the priesthood was a fantastic hiding place. Nobody got too close to you. You let them anyway. And as a result, then you literally were able to function, able to perform, do all kinds of things, but basically never ever really stand still and look at yourself. And many of us have our identity around work. We ask people, who are you? They tell us what they do. And so many of us go through depression, anxiety, go through all this stuff, even when, and years ago when I was the EAP counselor for the Philadelphia Water Department, I ran a program called Life After Retirement. So many people are retiring at age 55, early ages, and some of them were forced into retirement, given severance packages and stuff to that effect. So we actually started a program called Life After Retirement. And what am I going to do with myself for the second half of my life? Am I going to sit home and watch 550 episodes of Gunsmoke? Am I going to overdose on Hallmark? Am I going to be able to, do whatever I do, hang around the neighborhood, see what happens? And people get to a point where all my life, I was able to function. I was able to do this. How do I stop? How do I look at life differently? And the bottom line is, who am I? What am I really all about? It's that whole concept. You look at it. And so as a result, then we can look at that in very many directions. And I know it was a great escape for me. It was an escape from reality, an escape from having to feel and be in touch with feelings. When you're busy, when do you ever feel? You just feel busy and you feel tired all the time. So it's all you're making. And as a result, then, you almost play the victim role very many times. The same thing with relationships. So many times a relationship is a great hiding place. I can have somebody else tell me exactly who I am and what I'm all about. But it's amazing when it comes to relationships, because I never realized this now. But sometimes I think my mother put me in the seminary when I was 14 to save me from those people. I think they're called women. So I think it was a scary time. I think she put me in protective custody. And it took me a long time in my life. I had a lot of fear of women. And I know it goes back to my childhood because my aunts they were brutal. They were like drill sergeants. And the nuns in school, well, no, I won't get into that too much. It was crazy. So my images of women were always scary, being afraid, or and my mother's image, always over smothering and protecting. And so as a result, literally, I know in my addiction, especially later on in my eating disorder, I put a wall around myself. They're a good place to hide, to stay away from them. And I'll tell you a story. I love telling this story. It's interesting how we break out of our molds and we get into recovery, and we have to go through detox to get out of some of these addictions and some of these walls and stuff that we build. Well, when I got ordained in 1966, I went to a parish in Vineland, as you know. And at that parish, I functioned extremely well. Like I said, the pastor was an alcoholic, so I ended up, by the seat of my pants, running a parish. I ended up basically doing all the weddings, all the funerals, all the marriages, and some Sundays, all the masses. I also ended up teaching high school. And at the high school, because the coach of the JV team passed away, I coached the JV baseball team. I also had in charge of the Spirit Club. I was in charge of the cheerleaders. I was in charge of the chess club. I was in charge of everything. The thing came down to it, where RM was coming out the door, my head was going in the door. I had no idea where the hell I was. But at nighttime, I got my sedative and went to sleep. Woke up the next day, started the process all over again. It's running. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that people broke that pattern for me. One of my first meetings was good, but after I got ordained, I went and studied for my second graduate degree in getting my degree for pastoral counseling. And I was sent to LaSalle University in Philadelphia. And because of my schedule, I only did my graduate work in the summertime. And one beautiful thing about LaSalle, in the summertime, they actually have, a European faculty. And I had a professor. His name was Father Jerry. He's one of my angels in recovery. I love Father Jerry. Because I really believe that people have to come into our life and just kind of bring you to another dimension in your life. But Father Jerry was strange. I love strange people. They're kind of neat. But anyway, it was kind of strange because the first day of class, it's all nuns, all priests. And you've got this, we're nuns and priests. We got the right pads. We got the right books. We got the right pencils and pens ready to go. It was a 3-hour class. We're going to get all this information. And Jerry arrived. He had flip-flops on, Bermudas, and a white T-shirt. He walked in the classroom and he said, "Hello, everybody. What do you want to learn today?" And nobody answered him. Why? What do you mean, what do you want to learn? You're supposed to teach us. He looked at us strangely and he said, "What do you want to learn?" Nobody answered him, so he said, "That's okay." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's go across the street and have lunch." So he walked out of the classroom, went across the street, and he's sitting there drinking coffee. We all ran over there and said, "What about the class?" He said, "It's a beautiful day. Sit down, enjoy the sunshine. We'll do something tomorrow. Don't worry about it." Oh my God. The man blew me away completely. And later on, I got very close to him because he was one of the weirdest people I ever met in my life. He did things so differently. And yet I was grateful because he taught me so many beautiful things. But I was talking to him one day and I told him about my fear of women and basically, what happened in my life. And he said, "I tell you what," he says, "you come with me on Friday." "Where are we going?" He says, "I'm giving a weekend retreat. I'd like you to come with me and be part of the retreat with me." So I said, "Okay." So we left Friday night. We got there like 1 o'clock in the morning, wherever we went. Still don't know where we went. Anyway, when we got there, we went to sleep, got up in the morning, went over to the chapel to start the retreat. I walked into the chapel And there were, are you ready? Over 100 women in the chapel, medical missionary sisters. Now, they're doctors and nurses and stuff. They don't dress like normal nuns. They dress in regular clothes. So here I was with Jerry's going to spend the whole entire weekend with 100 women. I got to meet some of them, and I was scared out of my mind. I really was. But the beautiful thing is, Jerry did something to break a pattern in my life. And one of the things about these isolation addictions, you got to break the pattern. I got very close to those ladies. Even later on, became their chaplain in Fox Chase. Said mass for them on Sunday. So it's interesting how it takes something just to break that pattern, to let go of your old ways, your old fears, your old anxieties, and find out they weren't real. They were just there because of other things that went on in the course of life. And we see that when it comes to anything in life. Like I said, sometimes we get so caught up, even when it comes to institutions, things to that effect. You know, professional patients, people that go from one place to another place, you know, and basically they don't really want to get well. I always tell the story when I was a prison chaplain in Atlantic City. We had this guy, Jerry, and I, very interesting character. Anyway, he lived on the streets, but he got in trouble a lot of times because he used to steal a lot. He ended up serving 365 days in the county jail, but he was harmless, and everybody at the jail loved him. They made him a trustee, which meant his cell never got locked. He would help in the kitchen, prepare the meals. He would clean the floors, mop everything up, like the janitor, stuff to that effect. And he loved being there. It was his home. It was his family. It was connected. And the bottom line was he thrived and was fantastically great inside that prison. But then when he got discharged, after he served his time, they had to let him go. He didn't want to go. But he learned the system. He would go on Atlantic Avenue, take a brick, throw it through one of the store windows, and sit there and wait for the police. The police would come, they'd arrest him, you know, back in jail for another year. At the end of the year, one of the cops befriended him and said, Jerry, listen, next time you get out, don't throw bricks. Come and see me. Jerry would go see him. He said, now, Jerry, slap me. Jerry would go like that to him. He said, good. Assault and battering a police officer, back in. And they just kept him going in and in. And if they could have, they would have kept him there. It was his home. It was his safe place. It was his family. And I truly believe very deeply that this happens in a lot of situations in life. So many of us, because we live in fear, migrate towards these addictions, and we can very easily become a target for them. Even in religion and things of that effect, we can, the cults, things in that direction, where literally I give all my power to somebody else because I don't want to make decisions in my life. I don't want to grow up. Isolation is scary. Loneliness is scary. It has a powerful effect on so many people. And so as a result, then, a lot of times, if you live in fear, then fear becomes your normal. As a result, then, we also begin to realize so many times that so many people don't realize this, but what are they really doing? They're actually grieving the loss of their childhood, the loss of their voice, the loss of not being able to stand on their own 2 feet, their loss of having to face the things they don't want to face. And so it's easier to migrate towards some kind of an addiction, to avoid, to run away from, and to hide from the things I really want to do. Bottom line is, so many times in life, we have never taken the time to stand still, to look at ourselves. Unfortunately, the addiction allows us to hide. And so in order to be able to move forward, I have to be able to face the addiction. I have to detox from it. It's not easy. How do I detox from it? I have to be able to eventually come to a point where I'm able to begin the journey of developing my own spirituality, my own sense of self. I told you that story many times when I was in the hospital, when I had the breakdown. And that doctor said to me, "You're an empty shell. You have no idea who you are. You have no sense of yourself. You're running away. You're hiding." Of course, back then I didn't know what he was talking about, but later on I did find out. He was right. I really did not know who I was. So the hardest thing in life is to learn to love yourself, to build a personal relationship with yourself as a person. That's scary because it means I have to truly take time to invest in me. I'm grateful today that I had some pretty good therapists along the way to help me through this. But it took me a long time to get through my ego to finally ask for help. I told you many times I started therapy not because I wanted to, because basically I was pushed into it. Somebody got me mad, so I went to therapists to prove they were wrong. It's a lot of fun, by the way, but I wasn't wrong. Basically, I learned and grow. So the concept is I spent 5 years in therapy. I got to see a nutritionist. I began to work with myself, got involved in 12-step programs for real this time by doing my work and my step work. And all of a sudden, things started to change. The world started to open up. And I realized, wait a minute, do I really want to be that person that's running around like a nut all the time? It took me a while to work through that. It took me a while to learn how to set boundaries. And I'm still learning how to do it. I still go to therapy today. And I'm still working through my fears, working through a lot of times, my stubbornness and my control issues. Those things are part of who I am. They're part of my makeup. I don't want to go back to an addiction. And very easily you can go back to it. Anorexia is another one too. We would never talk too much about it. I can literally shut my body down, and then someone else always takes care of me. I don't have to do anything. I literally don't want to become an adult. I told you last week in this case of women, a lot of times anorexics, they end up actually losing their period, literally becoming like a little child again, and somebody else also has to take care of them. It's the bottom line deep down inside where I'm running. And when you run from life, you run towards death. I never understood this. How you can die while you're still alive. Because you can die emotionally, you can die spiritually. You just haven't enough sense to kick over yet. And so the bottom line is, you literally are living almost in a way an emptiness or a lie. And I know this is what loneliness does to people. I know what sadness does to them. And literally, we have to realize the fact that these are also a part of life. We're not reading tonight because we have to understand that one of the most powerful parts of recovery are getting in touch with feelings. We're allowed to have feelings. It's amazing that therapist made me do some strange things to get in touch with feelings. I'm grateful to him today. In fact, if you go in my office, you'll see black with his picture on it right next to my desk. I put it there on purpose so I could always look at him and be reminded of the things he helped me with. He didn't do it for me, but he pushed me to get in touch with things I didn't want to get in touch with in the course of my life, to get in touch with my sexuality, to get in touch with intimacy issues, to get in touch with being able to look at life differently, to get in touch with making decisions and changes. And that's the big piece. So many of us are scared of change. Change is part of life. And healthiness means you're in constant process of changing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We can't stand still. Our life goes on. I love that phrase in AA, the willingness to change and the willingness to grow, the willingness to never be done, the willingness to keep opening that door, the willingness to experience new things about yourself. So powerful and so beautiful. And that's the excitement of life. And as a result, then we have to realize the fact that there's so much every one of us can do, but we've been hiding for a long time. So in isolation addictions, but really, what is an addiction? It's an embalming is all that it is. It's an avoiding. It's a running away. And so isolation addiction simply means that. I can isolate and I can let somebody else tell me who I am. I can let everybody run my life, but not be able to have a sense of your own self and enjoy who you are as a person. To celebrate life is the greatest gift on the face of this earth. I'm glad now that we have funerals and they're called celebrations of life. For too many times, funerals were always, I came out of the old school when I was a kid growing up. My God, we had to hang this black wreath across our door. I think we had the plague. I don't know what it was. But basically, they used to lay people out in our living room for 3 days. And back then they didn't even embalm you. They used to put ice underneath the casket. Oh my God. I have memories of all that stuff, and every once in a while it comes back and I gotta clean the slate, move away from it. It's just unbelievable. But it's all part of it. But it's all part of the process of change, moving forward. In life, sometimes change takes us to places we may not understand. That face things that we don't want to face. That discover things about ourselves that really are beautiful and fantastic and wonderful. But again, for so long, like the reading said today, we've been living in pain. We've been living in hiding and living in isolation, living in fear, living with that stupid illusion that you're really in control. Who wants to be in control? I want to be able to live, to celebrate, to have life. And it's scary to lose control. It really is. But it's part of the journey, part of life. And so to face our fears, to work on our fears, to work through things. And again, we have to realize the fact that what's this really all about? Breaking out of institutional addictions and stuff to that effect is not easy. Because again, the whole entire life is what am I searching for? I'm searching for a sense of family. I am so grateful to the founders of AA. Bill W., Dr. Bob, the early founders. Bill W. was a total mess. He really was. Nice guy. And he really believed in this program. But he had so many demons, it was unbelievable. And if you study, I have a book home, it's written by his sponsor. It's a pretty powerful book, and a very confused man. But he has this belief in the Quaker concept. And so he started this program by forming the Gigantic Circle with nobody in charge, everybody equal, everybody belongs in the circle, like the circle of life. And he emphasized the fact that none of us, no matter who we are, can ever grow and become different and grow in our potential by ourselves. You can't do it intellectually. Give it a try. Go ahead. And buy yourself a bottle of Excedrin to go along with it. Give yourself a try. But the bottom line is, you can't. We need people. We need individuals. We learn from one another. We grow from each other. We're all different and we're all unique. And yet at the same time, we're all special. It was pretty powerful this weekend on that retreat, to be around 146 men, be able to feel the energy in that room, to be able to connect with people. And we have people there from age 21 up to age 91. We had a complete mixture of people, individuals. I got to meet so many of them, connect with them, and then many of them are memories from the past. We reconnected. It was fantastic. But see, that's the kind of energy we need to stay away from addiction and crazy behavior. The more you isolate, the more you become lonely, the more you hide, the more you run away, the more you migrate towards an addiction, because the addiction either takes away the pain for a short period of time. But addiction's got this way. It takes it away, but it comes back. It takes it away, but it comes back. When it comes back worse. You know what I'm talking about. And so really, in reality, it's so important to open up those doors, to be open to new things and new directions, to be open to change, to be open to new areas of life, to discover things inside of ourselves that maybe we've avoided looking at for a long period of time. but above all, to realize I don't have to live in pain. I don't have to live in guilt. I don't have to live in fear. I love that phrase. I said it back in the beginning. They talk about in the program to be happy, joyous, and free, to have a sense of who I am, to celebrate the gift of myself, to enjoy each day. Ask yourself some simple questions. Do you truly, truly love who you are? Do you know who you are? Do you enjoy being who you are? Do you accept the reality of your own self? All your idiosyncrasies, all your behaviors, no matter what the hell? We all got them. Isn't it fun? You know, every once in a while, we're pretty powerful, and sometimes we're a little weird. What can I tell you? The mixture is what it's really all about. It's that balance again, that balance of negative and positive, that balance of energy, that balance of growth. It's so beautiful and it does work. Yeah, but again, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be joyous. It's okay to be able to have a sense of who I am and what I'm really all about. But it's okay for me to have a voice, be able to express my feelings and be in touch with my feelings. But I need people in my life to do that with. What I'm going to do, express them to the wall? I only do so much talking to your dog or your cat. There comes a time when I need the interaction of other human beings, because we have this thing called humanity. We're human. You know what that means? We'll never, ever, ever, ever be perfect. Congratulations. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that fantastic? We'll always have some crazy little thing. We'll go through this. We're going to go through changes. We're going to have good days, bad days, in between days, whatever days, whatever. I get excited about this. I can't help it because I lived in these isolation addictions for a long time. I don't like it there. Even when I was going to AA meetings and I was so-called in the AA program, I was so busy trying to fix everybody and save everybody, I never took the time to work on me. I was pretty one of the most wonderful, fantastic two-steppers in the whole entire program. Who needed those 10 in between? Just basically run around, save, fix. I even fix people that want to get fixed. It's wonderful. Of course, back in our day, we could do that. We can't do that today. But I think about it every once in a while. I have a few people in mind, but I can't do anything about that now. It's the Italian part of me. I'm let go of that. But the problem is I'm learning over and over again the value of each and every person, each and every gift. So we have a lot to be grateful for as we get deeper and deeper into recovery. The recovery process from isolation addictions means you got to come out of your hole. You got to be able to interconnect with others, to build people around you, to build friendships, to slowly grow and develop things in the course of your life. I'm not saying it's easy. Believe me, it's not. I know when I lived in my world for a long period of time, I don't want to come out. But I'm so grateful today. And it just was such an experience this weekend to see people I've known from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, to be around the same group of people again, to be able to experience stuff, and just to be able to see all the different personalities, individuals, and different characters. Wonderful. It's fantastic. Now, I love the Zoom thing because I love looking at different people because I get to see all these characters. It's wonderful. Isn't it great? I get to see Vicky and Pat, and I get to see Charlie. The light keeps glaring on his head, but I keep seeing him all the time anyway. It's not a problem. And Joe was always there, nice and comfortable. But what the heck? We got all these crazy people. We even have Jerome hiding back there somewhere. But it's the fun part about life. It opens up doors. It's fantastic. We get to see Sue. Well, all kinds of great people here. And we got double Carols here, double Carol K's. It's exciting, right, Leslie? It's exciting. And it's the fun part about life. So give yourself a break. I really believe if you come out of hiding and you break the cycle of isolation, you're going to get in to connect with people, and some you're going to like, some you won't like, some you'll like in between. And it's okay. It's all part of it. It's all part of the journey. Some people will disappoint you. Some people won't. Like I said before, the yin and the yang, a little bit of each. Got to have both, right, Pat? Got to have both. Otherwise, you're in trouble. You know. Then you try to be perfect. It won't work. Believe me. And physically, we try to be perfect. We try to make sure I have a perfect body till the day I die. Good luck with that one. Anyway, you want to get old. Believe me, you are. No matter what. Emotionally, we got to be in touch with our feelings, the things going on inside of us, and just constantly be able to be open to them. And spiritually, we keep filling our soul, keep bringing stuff in. And if we do all that stuff, we'll be able to break the cycle of addiction, the cycle of isolation, the cycle of fear, and be able to move forward and enjoy life. And I know definitely inside of every one of us in this room, there is that little kid that wants to let loose, that wants to have fun, that wants to just be. We get bogged down, I know. Bogged down is part of it, but letting loose is part of it too. So, and I know sometimes you got to make hard decisions. You got to let go of things that maybe you held on to for a long period of time. But you're never done. You're never done till you're done. See how simple it is? It's not complicated. So therefore, we all got a round trip ticket. I'll get punched sometime. But while I'm on this earth, man, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to celebrate the people around me. And it was great. I love so much this weekend, the whole crazy bunch of young kids. Yeah, I call them kids. They're not kids, but they're in their 20s and 30s. Sue knows most of them. And just to be around those guys, And when I'm giving my talk, my conferences and talks at the retreat, I could bust on them like crazy. I had so much fun. But they laugh. They enjoy life. That's what it's all about. It's kind of like being around people like that because they give me another burst of energy in that direction. So it's all part of it. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit better isolation addictions and how we have to break them. Otherwise, they'll break us one way or the other. So tonight, my prayer, I ask God to guide us and be with us as we go on this journey of self-love, this journey of self-awareness, this journey of self-care. Let us pray. God, we come before you in prayer. We ask the God of our understanding, our divine presence, to guide us, to be with us, to walk with us, to allow us to understand even more the beautiful person that we are, to begin to experience the joy, the celebration inside of us, to be able to let go of all that old stuff from the past. I know that you're there, you're guiding us. All we have to do is ask for your help and your guidance, and you will be there. You will be there for us. You will guide us. You will strengthen us. You help us to become the people we're supposed to become. Help me on this journey not to be afraid to experience change, to experience growth, to experience new areas and new dimensions in life. Help me no matter how long I'm on this earth to be able to experience the gift of who I am as a person and to be open to continue growing, to experience the beauty of what my life has to offer. And so I pray that you be with me, you help me, you guide me, help me to work through my feelings, to come to a sense of joy, happiness, the sense of being able to be myself. I pray and I ask for this every day. I pray for your guidance and direction, and I pray for it in your name. Amen.